Okay, as Dan pointed out, it is the Apache Bells who are performing down on the field. And with me up here in the telecasting booth, we have the president of Boston College, Reverend Donald Monin, and we will be talking to him about the college and about the alumni, about students and so forth. But before we do that, I think I would like to have you look at, before I talk to Father Monin, this special look at the home of the Eagles, Boston College, from our studio in Boston.
Boston College. The sign at the entrance today marks home to more than 12,000 students. In fact, Boston College is not a college and not in Boston. It is an experience different from any other. Many Boston College graduates would have a hard time recognizing their school of 10, 20, or 30 years ago. From a small, predominantly commuter institution, Boston College has grown to a university of more than 8,000 undergraduate students, over half of whom reside in campus dormitories. BC offers 34 different undergraduate majors and 23 different graduate and professional degree programs. Yet the atmosphere is personal and the learning purposeful. There's a sense of individual worth joined in the celebration of others. The Boston College commitment to community is long and distinguished, where graduates have enriched the professions and are active in a variety of worthwhile careers throughout the city, Commonwealth, and country. Perhaps that which most defines Boston College is its Jesuit origin and the leadership these priestly scholars still bring today. For at the root of Boston College is, of course, learning and scholarship. From its Phi Beta Kappa chapter to Baptist Library and its 7 satellites to its distinguished faculty, Boston College offers a distinctive and multifaceted educational experience. The challenge to Boston College today is no longer growth, no longer expansion. The challenge now is to meet the special needs of an already healthy institution. To meet these needs, Boston College has begun the New Heights Advancement Campaign to broaden the base for its educational mission. The needs are specific: further expansion and improvement of library facilities, theater construction for critically acclaimed dramatic presentations, greater recreational opportunities, renovations at the Newton campus for law and undergraduate programs, funds for the basic educational needs of endowed chairs, faculty enrichment, and student scholarships. Gasson Tower has stood as an educational and emotional symbol for legions of Boston College alumni over the years. Through the New Heights Advancement Campaign, the structure will be strengthened to endure. And as the university looks to the future, so too will its tradition of excellence provide for the continuation of its educational mission.
Comfort, yes, and confidence. This too is yours in Cordoba. Here is the confidence of knowing your automobile possesses a look of great dignity, with seats available in soft Corinthian leather. Plus the confidence one can only have in a truly roadworthy automobile. All this in a most surprisingly affordable small price. Cordoba.
The World at War Special Series begins this Friday at 8 on Channel 56.
Hello, Search Incorporated. If you can't find it, we can. Reducing kennel for fat dogs. Just a second, I'll check out files. Now. Oh, here we are. There's 2 big ones. Fat Fidos in Elmwood and Weight Woofers on Main.
Do you know that 92 million adults turn to the Yellow Pages every year? That's 3 out of every 4 adults in this country.
And the 4th one, they call me.
The announcers for this broadcast were selected by WLVI-TV with the approval of the Boston College Athletic Department.
As I said, we are back here and we are talking to the president of Boston College, Reverend Donald Monin, who I was just remarking has been there 4 years and is no longer an undergrad. You've been around long enough, Father, I know now, to feel the pulse very well of Boston College. And, you know, things have changed greatly. Kids wear, well, what they want to. The dress code has changed a lot. And some people think that maybe all they care about is, will I pass, and a few other things like that. What is the mood of students on the campus at Boston College?
Well, Don, being a father of 3 of our own students, I think that you're in a fairly good position to assess the attitude of our student body right now, I'm afraid that an awful lot of people consider that the only two opposites that students can fall into are either apathy or militancy. And as a matter of fact, there's a great deal of latitude, of feeling in between. I find our students are extraordinarily open. I find them very, very helpful to each other. There's a genuine feeling of friendliness among them. They are serious about their studies. I think they're serious about their futures and their careers. But rather than there being any sort of an apathy that would involve something like inertia or passiveness, there's a magnificent hurricane almost of activity among them. And I find them very imaginative young people that it's a great pleasure to be with.
Now, how about the people who went to school when it wasn't quite the beautiful Testament Hill campus you have now, where all those beautiful granite buildings match and everything looks so glorious? When it once, you know, the alumni that perhaps went to the school that wasn't quite as fancy, are they still interested in the school, people like that? Do they still care?
Oh, very much so, Don. We have approximately 60,000 alumni now from coast to coast, and I have visited our clubs in most of our major cities. And I think that what's characteristic of the alumni is a great pride and loyalty in the school, but they are realistic and recognize that there are great changes that have taken place in Boston College since they were there in the 20s or 30s or even 50s. But I think that overall, the changes that they've recognized and the strengths that we've added have in no way lessened their confidence in the education they received. And I think that by and large, the university right now reflects what they would consider to be keeping pace with our world and at the same time growing in the process. So I think they're very proud of it.
You know, we think all the time, and you mentioned I have three, that two have already gone there and one is there now. So I'm very much aware of costs. I know what they cost. Private colleges do cost a great deal of money in comparison to public and so forth. Do you see, and do you envision perhaps in the future a time when there will have to be some other means of getting money for students to be able to afford a private education and the advantages it has?
Well, a number of especially private university presidents like to make a distinction between cost and price. And as a matter of fact, I think it's rather clear that the cost of public education is probably higher than that of private. But the price relayed to students, of course, in the private sector is much higher. But I think that in the last analysis, the value of private education, both to the individuals who receive it and to our society, is something that's been proven for generations. And I feel that as long as private institutions can do two things, as long as they can guarantee a very high quality educational experience, and as long as they are able to provide a very distinctive identity to their education, I think that some price differential is always going to be justified. I do hope, in fact, right now I'm working with a task force of the Educational Commission of the states, trying to see if there isn't a way whereby the states themselves, all 50 of them, could find some common way, though, to assist private education in recognition of the tremendous public service that we have played in this country.
Thank you very much, Father Mona. Appreciate it very much, and go back upstairs and root for another 17-point...
Thanks very much, Don.
Okay, thanks very much. We're going to be having the highlights. Dan Davis will have the highlights of that first half, and the third, we'll be back with the third quarter kickoff right after we pause for this.
Have you seen the Globe today? This paper's got more news, more information, more editorials, and sports coverage. It's got to be the best in the country. I'm not saying you're going to like everything you read in it. Obviously, there's no way you could read the whole paper anyway. But the more there is to choose from, the better your chance of finding the news that interests you, right? Pick up a Globe and you'll see what I mean. Whatever you're interested in, hard news, sports, politics, the arts, you're going to find a lot more of it right here. I mean, have you seen the Globe today?
Okay, Grandpa, Matthew wants to talk to you. Bye. Go on, Matthew, say something. Come on, Matthew, say hi to Grandpa.
When you dial direct, no operator involved, after 5 p.m., you can call out of state, anywhere in the country, and talk 10 minutes for only $2.60 or less. It's a great way to listen to your grandchildren grow.
Dad, I guess Matthew isn't going to say anything. Bye-bye.
Hello, Grandpa. Are you there? This is Matthew.
Hello?
Okay, we're back here at the Louisiana Superdome in New Orleans at halftime with Boston College leading Tulane 17-3. As the Tulane Green Wave Marching Band takes the field, we're about to show you some first half highlights, and they were many for Boston College. Of course, a lot of the work done by their workhorse, Glenn Capriola, the young man who played fullback early on against Texas, but was switched back to his old position in a running back slot for this ball game because of injuries. And Boston College has had some injuries. Neil Green, Tony Brown, still not ready to play, did not make the trip. Their two fastest backs, and they've had to rely on old pro, I better not say that. A young man by the name of Glenn Capriola, and he's had plenty of help too from McCarty, Melchiori. Capriola, incidentally, had 14 rushes for 78 yards in the first half. His long one was 15. Melchiori rushed it 12 times for 63 yards. His long one 27 yards, of course, a touchdown. McCarty took it 3 times, had 38 yards. His long one 25 yards. Capriola, incidentally, had the other touchdown, a 1-yard plunge. For Tulane, Kramer rushed it 6 times, 38 yards. His long one 14. Pontus 3 times for 31 yards, and the freshman had a 27-yard gainer included there. Hightower 1 for 3. Pontus 4 for 7. Smith has thrown once for Boston College incomplete.
In that first half, despite the fact that Boston College did dominate things, for example, rushing yardage, we've already mentioned, he gave you the individual totals. It was a total of 170 to Tulane's 67. The first downs were even at 8. Boston College leading by 17-3, but yet they didn't have possession of the ball any more than Tulane, except for just less than a minute. Actually, time of possession in the first half, Boston College had the ball for 15 minutes and 49 seconds in the first half, and Tulane had it for 14 minutes and 11 seconds. But the difference, of course, was that Boston College was able to rip off some long yardage. The yardage which was gained by McCarty alone, for example, one of them was no gain of those carries he made with a flanker around, and yet he picked up 38 yards in the other 2 carries. Okay, let's take a look now at some of the highlights of that first half. In case you joined us late, Dan?
This will be Glenn Capriola, Don, taking the pitch from Ken Smith and bursting up the middle with some fine offensive blocking. We're going to have another BC run here en route to a touchdown. Here's a give to McCarty. He was something else, wasn't he, in that first half? He takes it down. Here's Melchiori, the 27-yard touchdown run coming up here as he bursts out the left side and all the way. Tony Melchiori. Tim Moorman kicked the extra point. It was 7-0 Boston College. The BC defense was tremendous in the first half, as it was against Texas. They forced mistakes like this one. There's a fumble coming up here. We'll turn the ball over to BC well inside Tulane territory. Well, I guess that was as much Tulane's fault as Boston College's, but they were there to make the recovery anyway. And they did force some other mistakes in the first half. So BC's on the march down near pay dirt. Tim Moorman's first ever field goal try is good. 25 yards, 10-0. Now, Kelly Elias with an interception, stopping another Tulane drive. As Hodges, the freshman quarterback who's looked so good here tonight, threw it right into Kelly's hands. He stepped in front of the receiver and moves it down inside the 30-yard line. Then give it to Capriola again. He goes out of bounds down the sideline. The senior workhorse really doing the job tonight from ground level. A run to the 5-yard line by Capriola again. And as we say, down to the 5, and Glenn's going to take it in for the touchdown. Well, that's beyond the 5, almost in there. Now the plunge for the touchdown. Glenn Capriola, at that point, 17-0. A field goal later made it 17-3, and that's where we're at right now at halftime, Don.
And right now you are looking down on the field, that's the Tulane band playing toward the opposite side of the field. Our friends, the Apache Bells, have already left the field. You're aware of the fact that the President of the United States is here We've already talked to the president of Boston College. We have presidents all around us here.
A very fine interview, too. I enjoyed it, Don.
He's a very nice man and doing an excellent job. Well, I want to tell you a few things now that I have an opportunity before the teams come back out of this little tour I made this afternoon of the Superdome. Now, one thing, as you look across the way there, you can see a lot of color in the seats, and some of it is people and some of it isn't. And then you can go to the next level and you will see color, and not all of it is people either. And the same with the third level, and that is by design. Every single one of those seats alternates a color, and they go that way for, I think there are about 5 different, see them? There, you get an opportunity. Now that means that when you're looking at this thing in color and you're sitting here, you do not have the feeling that you are in a big hall with a lot of empty seats. It's a very strange feeling, but it's absolutely true. It seats 73,000, and actually it is possible to seat as many as 83,000. I'll explain why it's possible to do that in a moment. But just let me tell you that, first of all, it would be rather cavernous to be 73,000 and have maybe around 20,000 here. It would be like, well, like some of the ball games that we use there. You get an excellent shot as they pan around here, and you get a look at the Superdome. If you came here and had a very decent college crowd of 20 or 25, it wouldn't seem like that many, perhaps, and the place might seem rather empty. But they have designed it this way with all of those varied colors. And there are color schemes, by the way. There is just a certain degree of color, certain colors which are on the first level, only some other colors which are on the second level, and only other colors which are on the third. And as you're coming up the ramps, by the way, every single one of the ramps here is carpeted. And if you follow the carpets which have the colors of the seating area that you're going to, and your ticket tells you that you go to, then you just follow those colors and you will find yourself in that particular area with this color seat. But again, it does not give the feeling that you are in an empty stadium at all because of the fact that they alternate. They don't just have a series of empty seats, all looking the same color. And of course, way up on top, naturally, we told you we have that thing which everybody has told you about over and over again, that big screen, which is a 6-sided hexagon. And there are 6 different cameras which are actually projecting a scene onto those for the people down here to look at. And it is 90 feet up, and as I told you, the top of the thing goes up 270 feet, which is the equivalent of about a 27-story building. Oh, there are a lot of things I could tell you about this place. I spent an hour and a half here today, but we'll be having the third quarter kickoff in a moment, so we'll be back with that right after this.
This is some people's idea of a deluxe hamburger. This is Friendly's idea of a deluxe hamburger. This is some people's idea of a meal. This is Friendly's idea of a meal. This is some people's idea of service. This is Friendly's idea of service. Everything tastes better because we make it better at your friendly neighborhood Friendly.
Frankly, I want to get good interest from my checking account, but get at my money whenever I want to.
The First has just the account for your lifestyle. The First Now account.
Instead of a checking account that tempts me to spend, I need one that forces me to save.
The First has the account for you, too. Automatic savings.
I get around a lot, and I need a great credit card to go along with me.
Then take along the First Master Charge. It fits your style. Whatever your style, we have the services to match with lifestyle banking from the First.
There are a lot of folks standing in here now, and they are mostly Tulane students and alumni as the alma mater is being sung. I did want to mention one thing to you. I explained to you that the capacity here ordinarily is 73,000, and it can be expanded to 83,000 for a Super Bowl or something of that nature. I will explain briefly how that's done. Under normal circumstances for football, it is 73. But the lower deck, which goes away all the way along, that is from the ground, almost the ground level, is mobile. And it can be moved back. It can also be moved forward. In fact, the one opposite us is moved all the way across toward this side for Jazz basketball. And they just ignore the 2 upper decks on that side, have 2 upper decks on this side only. But they also can move back. And if they move back even further than they are now, then they can put an extra 5,000 seats on each side to make the capacity 83,000 for something like a Super Bowl. Okay, Dan, what do you have there?
The team statistics, Don, in the first half, of course, 17-3 the score, 8-8 in first down, which is a little hard to believe, but that's official. Boston College has rushed it 32 times for 170 yards. Tulane has 67 yards on the ground on 21 carries. Passing yardage, BC zip, Tulane 76. Return yardage, BC 28, Tulane 15. BC 0 for 1 passing, Tulane 5 for 10 with 1 interception. In punts, Jim Walton has punted 3 times for a 46-yard average, and he's right up there where he belongs. Tulane has punted twice for a 42-yard average. BC has fumbled twice, recovered both of them. Tulane fumbled 4 times, and this is something Larry Smith has been going crazy over. 4 times.